So I think final exams should not be counted for students that do really well in the class, because if you have a high grade, then you obviously know the material, and finals could be used as a way for students that weren't doing well in the class to make up for the work that they missed and prove that they now know the material. And if it needed to be replaced by something, I think a project would be a good way to show you know how to apply the knowledge instead of just having a big formal testing.
So I think that students should have like a big project instead of taking like a final test, because it kind of reduces like the stress, like all the stress, because like students would take too much time like preparing for like all of their classes, and it would be stressful and it would be like a big burden, and overall it would be like much more easier for like the students.
All right, go ahead.
So, all right, I didn't know if you had to ask me the question. I think that I would like to do a take-home portion and an in-class portion. The take-home portion so I can assess the student in a different way, but I would still do the in-class portion because part of my job is to prepare students for college, and I know in college they do mid-years and finals. As for the length of it, I would go either way, an hour or an hour and a half, but the content would be from the mid-year to the final, or from the beginning of the year to the mid-year. Because again, you need to prepare the students for what they're going to see in college.
Personally, I think it's a good idea, the project idea, but it would have to be open-ended for the student to be able to choose what they want to do instead of, you know, how normal projects are, where you have to do one step at a time. They could be able to how to present it, like either like a model, a poster, or something like that.
All right.
Much better than the final.
All right.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I'd rather take an exam because, like, a project for every class is just too much to do.
I don't think project or mid-years and finals should be replaced by a project in midterms, because like they're very important. It's good to be able to see the feedback you get from midterms and finals, and plus I don't like projects because they're stupid.
I think it would be more beneficial to have a project instead of a written exam, because if you do a project, you'd be able to actually show what you've learned instead of show what you've memorized in the past couple weeks.
All right.
I think it's a good question. I know in the high school that I went to in Rhode Island, we had a mid-year and a final project, and the final project usually ended up being a research paper. So it gives you a chance to prepare for college in the sense that you're taking an exam that's needed to get credit for the course, but at the same time it's also preparing you for college, and then you're writing a long form essay, a research paper. So yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
I believe that final exams are very important, particularly for students that are going to be going on to college. They need to get used to preparing for and taking large exams, and I think final exams is a good way to prepare for that.
All right.
I believe that final exams are extremely important for each year so that each student can advance on to the next grade.
Go ahead.
So with the question of final exams, mid-year exams, and whether or not we should do a test, I do actually think we should do projects instead. I think that when you're looking at 21st century learning skills, project-based learning and project-based work is much more valuable nowadays, and a lot of bosses value that also. So I think what we need to do is teach you how to collaborate on a project. Also, it gives you a chance to look back at what you've done and tell us what you've learned. Because again, the test just forces us to tell you what to study again. So I don't know that we ever really truly get a sense of you understanding the importance of the material. So I'd like to see the students take more ownership of their learning, and the way that they can do that is through project-based learning.
Projects are good. I like projects because it really shows that the students know the subject, know it well. Some people don't like to take tests. They don't do well on tests. And so that a project is a better way sometimes of getting to know whether the student understands the material.
I think we should have a projects instead of mid-year and final, because it's just a lot easier instead of like spending hours and hours studying for one test. You've got like a longer period of time. Like you could have like a term or a couple weeks or whatever to like prepare for a project and work on it, instead of just studying for like 10, 20 hours and then just doing it all on a test that takes 3 hours.